Everyone to the DLR podcast. I'm your host, Toby, Shinobi Toby, whatever you want to call me. Today we have a special guest. It's a good friend of mine. He's an amazing, talented individual, well known in the city of Windsor. Welcome, Walter, the one and only Walter Riggi.
Toby, man, it's always a pleasure hanging out with you, talking with you, man. Whatever it takes, man. I'm there for you 1,000%, man. You're just a great human, and I enjoy your company. So maybe that could be the whole thing. I enjoy your company, and then whatever we do from there is awesome.
Exactly. I guess Walter, tell the people what you do, what's your whole deal, what's your shtick.
Yeah, sure. You know what? It's kind of funny because I wrote some stuff down.
Right.
Because sometimes impromptu comedy just doesn't happen that easily for me, right? Well, let's see. I started in 1982 with my father filming weddings.
Wow.
And started to record my high school bands.
Wow.
And now I'm recording the children's bands.
So yeah, you touched on it. So your father essentially was your inspiration to kind of get into it. Like, how was that? Like, was your father always a person behind the camera, or was it just you just saw that I want to do that. You saw that and was I want to do that for the rest of my life.
Yeah, actually, it started because it was intriguing for me. I always found electronics fascinating, how they work and what happens with them.
Same here, yeah.
Yep. So when Dad said, "Come on, you're going to come and help me out," I was 15, 16 at the time, and I'm like, "Okay, sure, Dad, whatever." Right. So I went out there and I started noticing that it was an interesting little thing happening, right?
Exactly.
With the camera moving around, and I fell in love with it, and here I am.
Yeah, exactly. If anyone who knows Walter, he's a camera guy. He's cinematographer. He does films, music videos, films, events, anything, the whole shebang. So also that's something I'm doing as well. I'm a photographer as well, but I also do like to take the wheels of a finished cinematographer and shoot videos and stuff like that too. Not to the scale of Walter, of course, but I'm learning daily. Even we've worked on projects together. And I've gotten some things out of that, and translated into my own work. Going into your work, you want to you have any stories or anything to tell the people hey, this is how you from your starting point, if you can remember your starting point, and even to now, just kind of give the people a timeline.
Yeah, sure. I guess I can talk about some interesting people that have graced the studio,
right? Which
you could probably see a little bit there. I've had Dante Albiton from, he's an actor with an Amazon series, The Umbrella Academy.
Wow, you see, yeah, if you guys know The Umbrella Academy, it's quite huge on Netflix, right? Exactly.
Yeah, and he came into the studio and he did ADR work, which is, they recorded sound, they recorded his voice when they were filming,
right.
And then things happen on set. Sometimes the microphone shifts a little bit inside the pocket, or the boom operator can't follow fast enough, and some of the dialogue is lost.
Right.
So ADR is a great process to fix all that and come in the studio to do that. So I was able to see one of the seasonal episodes that weren't even released yet.
Exactly.
Which was nice.
You get that those do open as well, and that's one thing about the film world as well. Once you get a connection, it just kind of grows from there. And one thing I will always encourage, actors or anyone that's trying to attempt or get into that world, is to build those connections, do the small, crappy films, anything that, gets your name out there, and you just keep, once again, building those connections and meeting new people. And don't be afraid to meet new people, because you never know who you can run into and
Good point.
get, something big out of it.
That's true. I also had Dan Woods. That was a recent one.
Yes.
I think you were part of that.
Yes,
Dan Woods from Degrassi.
Yes.
He was Mr. Radich.
Yes, exactly. For anyone who watches Degrassi, you would recognize him.
Yeah.
He's one of the earlier seasons, not too much the later seasons, the earlier seasons of the show. But yes, he was on it, and he's a great individual as well. He's very humble, very down to earth. He let us use one of his houses for a filming location.
That's true.
Which was really awesome. And yeah, he's just, once again, just super cool and a super cool guy.
Absolutely. I've had a distinction also working with Miss Universe Canada.
Awesome.
Which I'm married, so that doesn't mean anything to me. Hi, babe. I love you. And But for you, obviously, you may have to take one for the team and help me out a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's
I'll be an inside man.
Yeah, exactly. We'll all be flocking around. You'll be saying, I'm sorry. It's a part of my contract. I can't do it.
Right.
So go see Toby. He'll take care of you. That was fun. That was in Toronto. And the one I had filmed actually won Miss Universe Canada.
Right.
And then another one the year after, I believe, it was from Windsor as well. And she won Miss Universe Canada too, which I filmed her here. She came to the studio here. We did some work here as well. Followed her around a little bit.
Awesome.
So, and they're both great people, right?
Yeah.
They're very level-headed, and they know they're beautiful.
Right. Exactly.
And they can just say, it's like, well, this is how I'm built.
Exactly.
This is who I am.
Right. And it's the one thing where you just have that confidence and walk around like knowing that you are the shit. If we're gonna remind my French, but you just walk around like you're the shit. You know what you're doing, and you once again that humility is what people are attracted to. People like seeing that, and you move around that, and like I said, you've met a good number of people in this industry, and you know people that come in and they're super cool people,
right?
And to work with you as well, And,
it's fun. It's good. Well, I guess they keep coming back, so I guess it means something, right?
Exactly.
Maybe they feel safe because they know I'm under contract.
It's like as long as I'm getting paid,
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good. Let's see, on the music side, who have I had? Music side, let's see. I'm going through my list. I had Joel Carvalho. He's a Grammy-nominated Canadian mastering engineer.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, he's recorded here, which this is going back a couple days.
Yeah.
A couple days. But he recorded here. We did an album with him, and
awesome.
Great human being, humble as humble can be. And some of the people he's worked with is just like, it's a who's who of Canada for music.
Exactly.
So he's a phenomenal guy.
A lot of Canadians are taking over the scene, especially going down into the U.S. There's a lot of the actors we know today, Ryan Reynolds, people like him, are taking over the American scene when it comes to that. But like, there's some gems. Yeah. Pretty much saying that we're saying that Canada does have some gems out here.
That's true. That's true.
Look out for them. Don't think that Canadians are just these nice people who don't got nothing going on. We do have some things going on. Don't worry.
That's true. That's true. Maybe somebody on the younger side, Mike Sleeth. He's a drummer with Shawn Mendes.
Awesome.
He's actually recorded right there.
Wow. You see the drum set behind us?
Yeah, right there. Mm-hmm. Yep. He was here. He did some stuff in studio. So. Did I think 4 songs, so that was fun to work with them, and the work ethic on some of these people at that level, at that echelon, is unreal.
It's incredible, honestly, and I can only imagine just like being there, and you're going show after show, touring all over the world, and you're behind some of the greatest
like Shawn Mendes. Come on,
Shawn Mendes is one of the greatest pop singers I would say of our generation. So it's really cool that you're having people that are associated even with him, and not even just like directly having the people, but people are associated. They were close to him. They see him. They record with him on a daily, stuff like that. And so you never know who can even come next. That's the beauty of being in something like this. So.
Yep. Yeah. He was actually, his work ethic. Back to his work ethic was hilarious. It was fantastic, not hilarious. Right. I remember he had we hired him to come down to record and do his things here. And we sent him the music for the artist, right? And he was going through his emails, and for some reason, I don't know what happened, it just never made it.
Wow.
So maybe his email service figured it was spam or junk, or maybe he's got his filter so high because he's such at that level, right?
Exactly.
And everybody's emailing him, and the default is like, okay, these are all fangirls or fan guys, right? Or something,
like,
right?
Who are these people?
Yeah, exactly. So he came down to the studio and he's like, hey, it would have been nice if you guys would have sent the music. I could have been prepared. I'm going like, well, we did. He says like, no, you didn't. And I'm like, yeah, we did. So we go through the emails and he's like, wow, I don't have this. Yeah. And then it turns out that his email provider was filtering so much stuff that he was like really pissed, right?
Yeah, he went through probably the spam or something like that and you didn't see it, unfortunately. Yeah.
But he was so good. He sat back, okay, well, let me listen to the songs. Can you give me like 20 minutes, half an hour? Let me at least listen to them.
Right.
So he was in here, and I said, you know what, I don't want to give you any more pressure. Just be you, right? So he had his piece of paper. I was listening to the songs. He wrote everything down. He comes in about 15, 20 minutes later, and he says, like, I'm ready to go. I'm like, really?
That's that fast. I think it'll take you maybe an hour.
Absolutely.
So. But I guess he's new to this. He's done this before, so I'm sure he's doing this for a long time. So like something like that, boom, I got it now.
Yeah, he's in.
To it, exactly.
He was in,
That's impressive work ethic. And even on the topic of work ethic, your work ethic, oh my goodness, is insane. Like I know you've been working hours and hours a day, for things. You come here to the studio, do thing, and then you say, let's do something later on. Let me go outside.
Yeah.
Even working on my project, if anyone knows that I did a short film called Criminal PI.
Oh, it was amazing. Amazing,
this
man.
Incredible man right here was a cinematographer. We shot like 5-hour days for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And we got it done, but it was like really incredible, and just seeing like, everyone was there. We had our off days, but overall, like things turned out pretty good.
Absolutely.
And,
it was a great experience.
I've sent it to a couple of film festivals, and I've been getting a lot of positive feedback from it, even just for the first time being a first-time filmmaker, because a couple years ago I started my career as a filmmaker, and it's just incredible. Once again, you're worth it. You just come in, you do your thing, like you come in, you set up, you go in, and you don't know, no one tells you anything. You just, Walter does his thing. You leave him in his corner. He does his thing. No one else tells him what to do. He tells us what to do sometimes, because it's like you get your shit together, like, but it's
all brotherly love.
Good. Exactly, of course. It's like even the environment on set every time, like it doesn't matter what set it is. Walter's always like has that energetic, jokative,
Thanks.
Like attitude when it comes to it. It's not serious, when things are serious, it needs to be. But when we break, when we say cut, he's back to the laughter, back to the loving. Yep. Everyone. We're cool. It's this really cool environment every time. And it's
That's
a
awesome.
pleasure. I always say it's a pleasure working with you.
Awesome, man.
Each and every time.
Well, I was taught to keep it light on set.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Because drama should only be on paper, not between people.
Exactly. Right? And I personally, I could never work in somewhere that's like toxic, and where people are acting like divas, and like no one likes that.
Nope.
We like where people are, like where they want, like being in a place where they want to be there, and they want to like see something great come from it.
Right. Exactly.
That's always a great mentality to have. So it's always good when you have those people that are around you who are there for it, like actors and the people that are behind the scenes, and you just have like creating great things so we can be all great at the end of the day. Yeah,
well, George Clooney likes to do practical jokes.
He
okay,
does.
Cut. Exactly. So take a break, reset, go to the new scene or whatever, and he starts doing practical jokes.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not that far. I'm not going to do practical jokes because I got too much to go. I got too much going on, right?
Exactly.
But he likes to do that, and but he gets it, right? Like you have to keep it light on set.
Exactly.
Right? You have to enjoy yourself. You have to have fun. Right. You got to give a couple of shots every once in a while, and you got to receive them.
Exactly.
Right? That keeps everything nice and cool. And even at the end of the day, you hug it out. Everybody smiles when they leave set. Right? We've gone through like 12 hours, and everybody's like, "Okay, let's go get a pizza."
Right. Exactly.
It's like we're still going.
What advice I would say like would you have for anyone like trying to pursue what you do, or even just be in the environment that you're in?
Yeah. Make a different kind of noise. Right. This one I got from a friend of ours, Sylvester Ada.
Yes.
That was a line in one of the movies. Make a different kind of noise, and that stuck with me because if you're doing what everybody else is doing, well, you're part of that noise. Yeah. You're part of that crowd.
Sure.
But if you're doing something unique and different, then all of a sudden that noise is looking at you and silencing, and they're like, "What? What's going on there?" Right? And then they're watching and paying attention, and you want them to talk, whether they talk bad or whether they talk good about you. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
You want them to talk.
Exactly.
Right? Because then people will, when they eventually wind up working with you, because eventually we all work together.
Exactly.
Right? Whether we're separate projects, but we all get together. Then they get back together. It's like, you know what? I heard some funny things.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, you're kind of difficult to work with, Toby, right?
Exactly.
But then he's not.
Exactly.
Right? It's kind of like, wow, you're really a good guy. You got your act together. You got your stuff together. Toby, you're the man, right?
Exactly.
And that's what you want, because if you don't, then people will be kind of shy to you and sit back and say, well, I don't know. Like, who's this guy? Right?
I don't know about this guy, and even with me in creating, especially as a first-time director, I've sat on sets before, and I've seen the drama that went before and behind the scenes. And I just wanted to always be in an environment where I'm creating something, where people are comfortable and people feel like they want to be there and people are putting their all into it. And that's one thing I expect. I don't expect much from anyone, but anyone I work with, I expect you to put your all into it because, I put my all into this. Yeah. I expect you to as well. I expect everyone to make it feel like it's real. Sometimes it may not be a paid project. You may not be getting, all the money in the world, but this knowing that it's for the greater good and it's for something better, then I'm always, trying to have a good environment. And I always have the mindset of, I help you and you help me. We help each other and we help each other build and grow. We're all on, the smaller level. Right. No, we're not, out in Hollywood or whatever. We're in our local cities and we're doing the best we can with what we have. So that's always like, I like that, honestly. And
that's for work tips, right? If I could say to you, like you asked me about starting out, right? So I veered a little bit, but I'm going to come back.
Of course.
But if you're just starting out, do the hard jobs.
Yeah.
Do the jobs that nobody wants to touch. Not even come close to it. It's like, I don't know, it's too hard. Right? So that's where you should be. Because if there's nobody there, your competition is zero.
Right.
There's nothing there. So get to those hard jobs, whatever it is, whether it's in arts, whether it's in your workplace, whether you're trying to start a business, whatever it is, do the jobs that are extremely hard for someone else to do.
Yeah.
Because then you're going to be known as that guy.
Exactly.
Right? You're the guy who knows
that.
Yeah, you're the guy that does the dog walking in between all the cats, right? You're the guy that does the filming with incredible the water. It's raining all the time, but you're the guy who does the rain shots.
Exactly.
You're the guy who does even the drones. Well, now everybody can do drones.
Right nowadays, yeah.
Yeah, but when it first came out, it was like, oh, he's the drone guy. He's this, he's that. So you show up somewhere and that's your skill. So whatever it is, anything, like even selling clothes, for example.
Right.
Go sell clothes somewhere where it's difficult to find those clothes.
Exactly.
Because then you're the guy. It's like, hey, I need a really cool pair of shoes.
Right.
You're the guy.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, and I really do like that in terms of, like I said, doing the odd jobs, doing anything that, even in life, that implies to life as well. Like you have a destination, you have a place to go. Even college students would tone to this is that they will be the ones working at the McDonald's or whatever, and you want to be a nurse, but you have to work at McDonald's to make money, so to get to where you need to go. So it's always don't be afraid to look embarrassing to get to where you need to be. Pretty much, that's a line that I'm kind of paraphrasing, but that's kind of what I got from it. Is don't be afraid to look weird. Don't be afraid to look embarrassed. Yeah. To be eventually look great. You know what I mean? So,
right.
I would say any other like stories or any like advice you'd say, or even just
stories. Let's see. I've got one that was kind of like interesting to me, but many years ago, I had an actress come up from Hollywood. She played one of the characters on 24. Actually, I wrote it down. What was her name? I'm not going to say her name, but she was on Grey's Anatomy, CSI Scandal, Virgin River, which is on Netflix right now.
Right.
Like, she's an actress. She's a fantastic actress.
Right.
But she came to the studio, and I remember telling everybody, please, when you come to the studio, there's a lot of equipment here, and like in any place you want to go, don't bring your water, don't bring your pop. There's a place outside for you. Just set it there. This gives you a chance to get up, take a break.
Exactly. Go.
Come back, right?
Exactly.
Right, like a lunchroom.
Right, exactly.
Right, you go to a lunchroom. You don't bring your food and your water on the assembly line or where you're working. It's like, bro, it's not time for that. But anyway, she came in, and she somehow, I don't know how it happened, but she snuck it in. Right, so right away, there's a setup.
Right, and then there's a problem there.
Right. And she's a wonderful actress, so I'm not gonna, and a great person.
Of course, exactly.
Right? But she came in, she snuck it in, and she wound up putting it on top of one of the consoles, one of the areas, right?
Oh, no.
And I didn't see it. Right. And the actors and the people that were in, the producer, the director, they were all here, and it was a big thing, and nobody saw it. So she winds up getting a little bit, leaves it away, and the cup is on there, and she goes to sit down on the couch for a little bit. And then one of the producers walks over and didn't see it either, gives it a tap.
And it falls.
Yeah. And it didn't fall away, like it would be this way. It would fall this way.
Oh, no.
Of course, right? Like, why wouldn't it, right?
Exactly. Like, the worst case scenario.
Oh, man. So that was like, all right, who did it? And of all people, it would be me. It would fall on me. It would fall, and it was like, it's like... So that's one of the war stories.
Right. Even like something like that, we have Walter has a joke every time I say it's like, what'd you buy?
Yeah.
What'd you buy? If it's anything expensive, it's just like, what'd you buy? What did you do? And what you're gonna buy for me right now?
That was unbelievable. Buy me a new pair of pants.
Right. Exactly. In terms of like projects, what would you say probably your favorite, to work with? And you don't have to say me.
I was gonna say Criminal PI. Come on, man, Tony, come on, man, this is it. Are you kidding me? Man, favorite project. Let's see, what have I got? Okay, well, just considering this is December. When is this airing?
Probably soon. Probably like
December.
Yeah, December. Yeah.
Okay, so December 2022 story.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the good projects I just finished working on was mixing a surround sound, music Foley soundtrack for a movie out of North Carolina called Save Christmas.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was filmed in a place called McAdenville, which is dubbed the Christmas town of North Carolina.
Really?
Yeah, and I wound up going on. You guys can Google it too.
Right.
Do the Google Maps thing.
That's
it's hilarious.
huge.
Oh, that's it. Everywhere is Christmas, and every pictures I saw of McAdenville in Christmas, there's no snow anywhere.
Really? And of course, exactly. It's North Carolina, so it's going more south, so you don't really see too much snow in that area. And I guess the typical aesthetic of Christmas is snow and everything. Everything, but
just thinking to myself, like, how are you going to get, like, how is this sellable for Christmas, right?
But, at all. Hey, we can make it work if it happens.
It was good. So that was fun. What else? There is, a Vampire Zombies from Space. That one was fun. I played a bartender now, and they hired me as a bartender. Exactly. So you figure, how do I look like a bartender? I guess I'm a bartender. I've been typecast.
Right. And for those who don't know, Walter is quite the actor. He's been on a couple of projects that I've seen. Shout out to Ed Waft. He's an amazing actor. He was also in my film as well, Criminal PI. But you've done some really cool. He's a comedic guy, so he did a lot of comedy work, and it's quite hilarious to see. I might put a couple links in the description for you guys to check out those films. But Walter is a talented guy, and even going on to that, we are writing a film together.
Yep.
So we're stay tuned for that. He's been putting in a lot of work in the script. He's holding his own while I'm doing my thing. We're kind of bouncing off each other's energy.
Actually, a great energy. I love it. I love it.
And I said I'd really like to work with you in the future as well, because I really like how we work together and how our brains just clash and we can make it work.
Hey, as long as I keep saying yes, it's all right, right?
Exactly,
yeah, Toby, I'm in.
Right. Walter has always been he's always been showing me love and being good to me, and every time I needed something, he was like, hey, I got you. Like anything you need, I got you.
Yep.
I'm very appreciative of that.
Thanks, brother.
But even working on this script though, like how would you say so far how it's been? It's a secret project right now.
Love it.
But how would you say working on it is for
Actually, where we're at right now, it's great. We're at the point where we're just putting ideas down, spitballing, trying to come up with some sort of story frame, just to keep things for continuity in our mind, right? Exactly. So I think we're about 2/3, I would think.
Yeah. We're almost done. Yeah, it was first in terms of first draft. Ish, but obviously when we go over again, we're gonna read things over and get things done again. But it's it's really far in. We're almost done. Stay tuned for that film as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna be looking into different areas, especially locations would be important. What would you say was the hardest, I guess, in terms of filming for locations? Did you ever had any problems where I couldn't go to this location, or you wanted to go to this location and you couldn't, or did you have any major problems when it came to filming locations? Because one thing, as a filmmaker, is really hard to get. Locations is important. That's where things happen.
Yeah. I think the probably the most interesting one was I had to film outside of Richmond Hill in up Ontario. Right. Richmond Hill, the other side of Toronto. You can Google map it.
Right.
And it was supposed to be a weekend shoot, 3-day shoot. And I remember they said to me, well, when you come up, we got a place for you to stay, sleep, so you can be rested, because we need to focus, right? Because they hired me for the lights and the sound and the well, they had people there to work that, but they wanted the equipment. So it was a big rental along with me filming it. And I remember getting up there and past Richmond Hill, which is a really posh neighborhood, really expensive homes and everything. And then you're passing it and you're going through, all of a sudden you're in farmland. And I'm thinking to myself, what kind of city's out here? I haven't been this far out, right? So you go a little bit farther, and all of a sudden it's you go over this hump and then boom, it's like a metropolis, and you're like, what am I in LA now? What is this, right?
What's going on?
Yeah, like what a disconnect. And it wasn't even that far. It was probably maybe 10, maybe 15 minutes northwest of Richmond Hill, which is interesting. But I get there, and everybody was cordial. They helped me. This is your lighting tech. This is your sound guy. This is whatever you need. This is your assistant cameraman. We're all good to go. So we get there, and the place that we were originally supposed to film, they backed out at the last minute.
Wow.
So here I am driving. I didn't know this.
Sheesh. So you're like, driving, all this gas I wasted.
Yeah.
Like, no.
So I get up there, and they're like, "Well, we can't really film at that location anymore. But however, you know the place where you're sleeping?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, we're filming there." I'm like, "Oh, okay, all right. Where is it? It's that house right there." Let's go. I'm like, "Wow, I'm sleeping in that house. Wow. Oh, all right, this is good, right?" So we get in there, and it's a father and son. The son was like 20, 21 or something, and the dad was about my age, and he was like, he owned the house. So he says, "Hey guys, whatever you need, don't worry, everything's good." I'm like, "All right." I says, "Okay, well, where am I sleeping now?" Right? I'm thinking to myself, all this equipment is here, and there's a family living here. I thought it was just like a hotel room. Right. It wasn't. It was a house. So I get there, and the father's like, "Well, see that couch?" I'm like, yeah.
Where's this going?
Yeah. He says, that's going to be your friend tonight. I'm going like, okay, well, hey, it is what it is. Right?
I get it.
It is what it is. But I'm a tall guy. I'm 6'4".
Right, exactly.
And the couch wasn't.
Exactly. So you're like scrunched up, like in the fetal position, trying to sleep.
Yeah. But I couldn't believe myself, though, because I really couldn't sleep. Like every time I like doze a little bit, I'd wake up because either you move and you're going to fall off the couch or whatever, right? So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll hit the ground. I'll just lay on the ground. But it was actually it was around this time, October, November, that I went up there. And it was just this blast of cold and rain was happening. The usual Halloween vibe, right? Exactly. Where it's cold and windy and wet. Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I think, if I lay down, I'm not going to really get a lot of heat on the floor, right? On the floor, exactly. So let me try going through it. So that was probably the most challenging one, where the location got switched on me and on set.
Man. Tell me about it, man.
That's just probably a common war story, but for me it was funny.
Exactly. Oh, that's awesome. But once again, that's the pain no gain, type thing. Hopefully it did work out in the end. I'm sure it did. It worked out in the end.
Yeah, we had a good time. Everybody was prepared. They knew their lines. They knew their placing. So they probably had it blocked out for a while. Right. And it was just a matter of picking up the old location and going into the new location because everybody knew where everything was. Right. It was a joy to film. I think we filmed 12 pages that weekend.
This is good.
Yeah, it was good, actually. They were just like, go. Okay, next, go, next, go, next, go. And then there was a team setting up the next location, next spot. Yeah. It was really well done. A lot of people. It was probably 30 people.
Yeah, exactly. When you get that big of a crew and a cast, you can kind of make it a lot of things.
That's true.
Work in like filmmaker terms, filming 12 pages is quite, it's long, but if you get that done in a day, that's quite amazing.
Yeah.
Once again, it depends on the amount of people that are in the crew as well.
And they rehearsed.
Exactly. They
came prepared.
Exactly. Right? They come prepared. And that's one thing I would get into is like being prepared. That's we've worked on in situations where things weren't prepared. People didn't know their lines, or people were like, kind of being iffy about everything, and they have to, we have to cut. Oh, now we gotta wait like 10 minutes for you to get it right, and you come back again. It's one thing I would say as well. Like when you guys are, especially actors, when you're working with people on filmmaking, like please make sure you are remembering your lines. Yeah. Also, build a connection with your actors, people that you're working with, because if you can go for a coffee one day and just read your lines and just be like, hey, let's get these lines done. Let's do it. That makes everyone else's life a whole lot easier.
Amen.
I can tell you.
Amen.
I can't stress that enough.
Yeah. Plus you come to work prepared.
Exactly. You don't go to your any other job or any job where it requires you to be prepared. Unprepared. You don't go to an interview not looking spiffy and looking good and not looking prepared, waiting to answer every question properly, everything of that nature. Like you actually have to come in and do things the right way, or you're going to make everything rough for everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yourself at the end of the day. Absolutely. Because, you become that actor, you be known as an actor that is not knowing their lines. And you get that reputation. Nobody wants that reputation at all.
Not pretty.
Yeah. Would you say for anyone, like, I guess advice for anyone that's kind of feeling discouraged about, like, I want to do this, but like I'm feeling discouraged, like, it's not going right, it's taking off where I want it to be. Like, I see people that are doing it, they're more successful than I, but it's not going where I want it. How would you like go about giving advice for those people?
Well, if somebody's farther ahead with you, excuse me, if somebody's farther ahead in their career than you, or they're farther ahead in a project and you admire the project or you admire the people that are working with that project, then reach out to them and associate with them immediately. Say, hey, listen, I'm not at your level yet, or I haven't, or I'm working on a project and I think what you're doing is going to be similar to what I'm doing. Can I like volunteer? Can I work with you? Is there a position there? Like, is there anything paid? Is there like, what do you need?
Right.
Like, I want to be part of this and absorb and learn because that elevates you.
Exactly.
Right? One mistake that happens locally around here is more of like, oh, you're working on that project? Oh, I heard it was an S show. Or I heard the director wasn't prepared. I heard, like, all this negativity.
Right.
And that just does nothing for you.
It does, yeah, right.
It just brings you down. It's kind of like, okay, I'm already down and I want to elevate myself and I'm reaching out to you to get me to the next spot. But you're bringing all these negativity toward me. Exactly. So now my basket's already full of negative, and now what am I going to do? I got 2 baskets full of negative. What am I going to do with this?
Wow.
So that's terrible. Around here, it's brutal, right?
Exactly.
And I've worked on projects like outside of Windsor, like crazy, right? And it's a completely different vibe. No one will ever talk smack about anyone.
Wow.
Unless like they know you very well.
Exactly.
And that person is a piece of crap.
Right.
And you've got a common thing, right? It's kind of like, oh, that person was terrible. He didn't give us water. He didn't feed us. He didn't put us up in a hotel room, and he didn't pay for gas, and he's shortchanged us in the last project. That's more of like trying to look out for you.
Exactly.
Because there's a common thread.
Exactly.
But if it's something that you are just reaching out for and it's that negativity, that's terrible. So stay away from that.
Exactly.
But try to associate yourself. Try to get people on your project that are farther ahead than you, because it's the only way you're gonna be pulled up.
Exactly.
Right? Like, think you're on a cliff and you're hanging out. I'm gonna fall. Who do you want? The skinny little guy to come over and say, "Hey, 250-pound man, we'll pull you up."
Right.
Or do you want like Hulk Hogan or The Rock come up and say, "The man, I got you."
I got you.
Pull you up, right? And that's what you have to figure out. So if you're feeling down and about and you think you're on that cliff, then try to find The Rock.
Exactly.
Try to find the Hulk, right, or somebody, right?
I definitely agree too, and even I do photography as well, and even in that space, I always try to align myself with people who also do it as well. People get more opportunities, so I can kind of, even if I'm not like personally like on a shoot or whatever, I'm in that environment, so I can be like, okay, let me get in there, let me get to know this person, let me follow their Instagram or whatever. So now I can see how they're posting, see what they're doing, and I can even try to emulate or even do my own thing, which is more important. Doing your own thing and helping you stand out, which is the most important thing ever. Like, I can
attest he does do that, and I also can say he's not from around here.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I am. I'm always like looking for opportunities, and even like I said, working with you and working under you, I'm always like grabbing things like a sponge and just like absorbing all this energy, all this all these skills I can apply to myself, which is the most important thing. Once again.
Well, I can't go on forever.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have to take over. You're young, you're viral, you're all set to go, man.
Exactly.
I'm just getting gray.
I know. He's great. He's getting stressed. That's it. You don't stress this man out. That's all it is. Don't stress this man out.
Is that what it is? Gray? Stress is gray? Huh?
I heard it was kind of like a theory that I guess that was a thing. As a kid, my parents were always. I used to running joke is like when you're getting more grays, it's because you're getting stressed. But I don't know. It could be not scientific. It could just be.
You might be onto something there, because women say, I really like the salt and pepper thing. So basically, they're trying to prime you up for stressing you out.
Exactly.
I'm just kidding. I love
women. We love you, ladies.
Absolutely.
We love you.
I got a whole set of my own. Don't worry about it.
Exactly. He has kids and he has a whole life of his own. He has something that stresses him out anyway. So we love him, though. We love you, Lucas.
That's right, man. Lucas. That's right, buddy.
What would I would say like be a good starting point for, I guess, people, like, once again, because you went into like people that should like be like align themselves with people that are doing what they want to do. What would you say is a good starting point in terms of trying to, I guess, be in your shoes essentially?
Sure. No matter what game or business you're in, whether it's media business like we do here, or whether it's starting a store or doing a service, walking cats as a service, whatever it is. No matter what you do, you need to be either a great salesman first, or you have to hire or work with somebody on your team that is a great salesperson, a great people person, can go out there, shake hands and say, hey, guess what you need? You need me to walk your cat. Why? Because I do. Who walks their cat? I do. Right?
Yeah. I like
and all of a sudden, it's like you start getting 1 cat, 3 cats, 5 cats, because that person's constantly out there peddling and selling, right? And that's extremely important. And even with this, it's like everybody wants to, in our industry, right? Oh, I got a script. And usually it's a feature.
Exactly.
But you've never written a feature before, right? It's kind of like, it's a feature. It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be amazing.
And you read it in about the first 5 or 6 pages, it's just garbage.
Yeah.
It's just terrible.
To be blunt.
It's terrible. Like in a feature, if you can't get somebody in the first 10 minutes, they're going to switch the channel, flip this, whatever it is, go to a different streaming service, whatever it is, right? So you got to do that. So it's extremely important that you have that person that is sells, whether it's you or whatever. Then when you get the business, the next mistake that people make is, I got to get myself a $8,000 camera. I got to get myself a $2,000 camera. I got to get myself a $40,000. I need this camera, or I need this sign. I need this microphone. I need this cord. I need this, all these things. And all of a sudden they're like, we got to pull the credit card out, man. I got a $400 job. I got to spend $80,000. I'm in the game, boys.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, because you spent $80,000 to make 400, which but if you can do 400 a day or 400 a week or whatever it is, then the $80,000 or the $50,000, whatever you spend, starts to make sense.
Exactly.
But the solution is not to buy it all; is to rent it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Right? It's like if you're going to make $400 in a gig and you can rent it for $150, well, at least you kept something.
Exactly.
It was worth your time, right?
You spent money to make money.
Yeah, exactly. And then when it gets to like a $4,000 gig, or you're making $8,000 on a bunch of gigs or something, then you can sit back and say, okay, well, I've paid a lot of rent, which is okay because I kept a lot of money.
Exactly.
Now I can go there and try to buy my lens that I want, or that microphone, or I can hire somebody to get more work, right? And that is the way to succeed, because if you don't do it that way, you're in debt. And then you get, it's like, I made $400. I'm stoked. I got the equipment I want. I made $400. I'm excited. Next thing you know, it's like, I can't get another job for another day or two because this person says, I love your stuff, but hit me up next week.
Exactly. Or I'll pay you in exposure.
Oh my God.
I've gotten that a lot as well.
That's brutal.
Like, I'm not going to pay you in money. I'll pay you in exposure.
Thanks.
You know, people will know about you, but that's about it.
So,
we've got to eat though.
Absolutely.
I got to pay rent next
Absolutely.
month. You know what I mean? So
then the bumming out starts to hit you.
Yeah.
Then it becomes one of those negatives in that bag, right? It's kind of like, oh man, I got to make a payment on $80,000.
Yeah.
I need another gig, man. What am I doing? And then it's like you start getting panicky and you start getting worried. Next thing you know, instead of looking for more gigs that you can do, you start looking for a job.
Yep.
It's like, okay, let me take a part-time job. At least I can pay for my $80,000 expense that I just did, and I'll start looking for more work, right? But then you're like, okay, well, now they just offered me more hours of work. I think I better take the cash because I got to pay $80,000, and all of a sudden you're not really looking for another gig.
Exactly.
Now they say, hey, you do such a great job at work. We'll put you on 40 hours a week, full time. Plus, we need you on Saturdays.
Oh, wow.
So you're like, okay. Now you got equipment sitting collecting dust.
Yep.
Right? You got only one gig at $400.
Jeez.
You're a mess.
Exactly.
Right? You're a mess. You didn't make any money on that. Yep. So they sit back and say, well, I've been working at this gig for 6 months. I kind of like it. The money's safe. It's constant. Right. I wish I could go back to doing my thing, but I can't. So I'm going to sell it.
Right.
So now you're not going to get $80,000 for it.
At all.
You're going to eBay it, and hopefully you can get like 40, maybe $50,000 because it's used equipment.
Exactly.
And you only use it once. Right? So what do? It's like, okay, well, I'll take the hit. Well, you took the hit, and now you're in debt for $30,000 because you didn't get your money back.
Exactly.
Right? And now you got to work like crazy. You got to get another job, and all of a sudden you get a girlfriend or a wife, and this and that. And the dream of being in whatever you originally started to be in that business, whether it's this media business or whatever business you're doing, it's long gone.
Yeah.
Long gone.
And it's one thing I would say, especially with people who are on the come up, it's once you know something isn't consistent, you got to get into like hustle mode. You got to grind. You got to, like I said, look embarrassing to get to where you need to go. Like you gotta do rent, like you said, rent the camera. You gotta, go to this and do that. Like you gotta, like, even if you're begging, I don't know.
Yep.
I'm not saying go beg people, but even if you just gotta constantly do it, because it kind of forces you to get into those shoes and just start running and running and running. Because some people, like you said, they get to a job and they get lost. They get, oh, I gotta make money. I gotta do this. I'm in debt now. I gotta do this and that and that. And then you lose yourself. And like you said, what you originally started out to do, you lose it. And,
yeah.
You can't do it no more, or you choose not to, more or less.
Yep.
And I would say anyone's out there, like, once again, just hustle hard. Don't be discouraged. Keep going.
Yeah.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm making this as a lesson to myself as well. I'm up and coming. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm going to get, the more I do it, the more I'm going to get there. And everyone, that's advice for everybody out there.
Another big problem that a lot of people have is money management.
Yep.
They have no business skills whatsoever. They think, oh, I got $400, man. This is great. I can take the boys out. We got to go celebrate. Well, then that $400 turns into like nothing really quick, and you pull out the credit card because you're the big man on campus.
Yeah.
Right, and you're in debt for another $200-300 because you blew it on drinks, or you went out. No, we're going to Vegas, or we're going to party here, this and that. You only made $400, bro.
Exactly. That's $400.
Yeah, and plus you got like $80,000 debt you got to do. It's like, what are you doing? Yeah. And that's a big problem. Like you got to just buckle down and write down. I made $400, $150 went for rent. Yep. I'm left with $250. What do I do with that $250? Well, maybe I can run some Google ads. Right? Maybe I can talk to someone and give them a cut of that and say, listen, give me a gig and I'll pay you this much up front, and then you get that later if you trust the person. Right? But have to reinvest in yourself and pay yourself.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
This way there's no pressure. And now you can go through it and you have a clean head. If someone says to you, what, hit me next week, and you're like, that's okay. I don't have an $80,000 payment.
Right.
I got $250 clean in my pocket right now. I can hold out a little longer.
Right.
And you're still encouraged, right? You're still there. You're still in the game, and you stay focused.
Exactly.
I've been doing this 40 years.
Yep.
These are my secrets. This is it.
Yeah, listen up, folks. So with that, we're going to bring the show to an end.
No, man. No, bro. Come on, man.
Oh, Walter, it was a pleasure, shooting with you today. It was awesome. I learned some things myself, and I hope you guys out there learned something as well. Like this is when an experience, even doing these podcasts, this is like only episode 4, but these podcasts have like opened something into me. I'm just like passionate about this, and I'm doing this. I've had people come to me in real life, hey, I want to be on this podcast. I want to say something to the world. I'm like, yes, it's good. I need that energy. And once again, this is not, even though it's called Dress Like Rappers podcast, this is not just about rappers. This is just about people coming and having a conversation, just talking. We're having good conversations. And
what are you saying? I don't look like a rapper? Come on, man.
Hey, this is a top level swag.
Oh, man, this is like maybe I'm a candy rapper.
Maybe. But yeah, once again, thank you, Walter, for being on the show.
My pleasure.
And everyone, I'm gonna any your socials or anything that you want
absolutely
to check out.
Facebook.com/Walter Riggi. You can start there. Instagram, I'm there as well. And what else do I do?
He has his website as well. If you want to book anything, I'm.
RiggiMedia.com. RIGGI.
Yep. All of which will be in the script. Sorry,
you're a good man. No, that's okay.
All of which will be in the link in the description. Guys, I got to put my boy Walter on and get him going as well too. So thank you guys for tuning in. You guys have been an amazing audience. You guys have been putting views on my videos. I appreciate that. And I will see you guys on the next video. Peace.